alleged murder fugitive Gerhard Jansen van Vuuren has been extradited, you'll know, from Brazil to South Africa, facing charges of murdering his girlfriend. I can take you live there now and to reporter Linda Kuhle-Kulu. Linda, good afternoon to you. Let's pick this up.
Well, Jeremy, as you can see, he is finally back in the country. We understand that the flight had landed about an hour ago, but there was data processing taking place inside. And as you can see, right now, publicly, he is being taken in. He was just searched before you came to us, and you can see the cuffs. It seems that they will be taken off and he will be going into the van, ultimately into the custody of the police. Jeremy, we are showing the face and we are able to mention the name. And that is because before he fled the country, he had appeared in court several times. In fact, from 2011 to 2013, when he fled the country, he was, in fact, applying for bail repeatedly, and the bail was being opposed. He finally got bail at the South Gauteng High Court. And those visuals, Jeremy, are seeing, he is inside the police van. He is in the custody of the South African Police Services. We understand that this was a joint effort to get him back in the country by authorities from Brazil, where he fled to, and authorities in the country, particularly those from Interpol and the South African Police Services. And there is a beefed up security here. It does seem that the police are leaving no stone unturned in making sure that they do it right this time around, which is to get him in custody. But that van will be his transport to wherever he will be held. We'll get some of that information later on, Jeremy. But 7 years on the run from 2013, finally he is back, and we understand that on Monday, that is when he will be appearing in court. As to whether he will be facing further charges, they're saying that that will be up to the court and the National Prosecuting Authority. But for now, the victory that is being celebrated by the South African Police Services is that he is back in the country and will then ultimately be able to face the law and stand for trial that he fled from in 2013.
2011, he allegedly stabbed Andrea Fenter, his ex-girlfriend, as I've mentioned. He then, as we've also said, attempted to commit suicide at the scene of the crime, rearrested in Brazil. Do we know, Linda, how that arrest was effected?
Well, what we understand, Jeremy, is that when he left the country, he left with a false passport. So when he got that side, the authorities from Brazil were then able to see that this is a false passport. When they checked the fingerprints as well, it didn't check out. And that was when he was arrested in 2013, immediately in Brazil. And we understand he was released in 2015. So about 2 years later, he was released. But there seemed to be a breakdown in terms of South African police law enforcement agencies and the Brazilian law enforcement agencies. And for a couple of years, he was in the wind. But it does seem that with the intelligence working with the authorities from Brazil, they were then able to check and trace and get an address of where he was residing in Brazil. That's what we were told earlier on, Jeremy, when we spoke. But it does seem that he faced some troubles as well with law enforcement, even on that side, fleeing from South African law enforcement. But when he got that side, he did get some trouble with law enforcement. But today is that day when he is extradited, coming back into the country after 7 years on the run. And, we will try to get a word from law enforcement agencies just about some of, these operations that are taking place, particularly if there are a number of these cases that perhaps we haven't heard of in terms of extraditing those who run away from the law, but certainly encouraging in the perspective that after so many years, for those that are looking for closure, particularly the family of Andrea, that today something like this is happening, Jeremy.
We caught the tail end of his arrival on the concourse. We saw him get into the police vehicle. Before we crossed to you, did he say anything? And do we know who accompanied him on the flight back?
Well, Jeremy, what we know, as I stepped into the shot, Jeremy, what we saw was that he came from that particular passage. We understand that the investigators from the country were the ones that had accompanied him What the police did was that, with Mukhumuti will follow me, they in fact made him stand just in front of the Or Tambo International Airport South African Police Services police station, and they then made sure that the journalists as well as some of my colleagues here get a photo op to show that this investigation and these behind the scenes work that they've been doing to get him has finally paid off. And then from there, it was then you came to us, and that was when they took him inside this particular van. For now, it is still standing, it is still waiting here, but what I am seeing, Jeremy, just behind this glass and the bars inside is that he is holding his hands almost into this position, looking down. It does seem that the wheels of justice and the long arm of the law has finally caught up with him, and he will then be facing the music now. But he did not say anything, Jeremy, to answer your question, did not have an opportunity to even throw in a few questions about how he's feeling and all of that. But we are seeing that the law enforcement agencies have finally been able to apprehend him at this stage.
I think in American parlance they call that a perp walk. Linda Kutli-Xulu, thank you very much indeed. Live for us at OR Tambo International, Friday lunchtime when we continue.